This is TUMA BASA, TUMA, and you're watching the Black Smoke Podcast.
It's the Black Smoke Podcast.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Black Smoke Podcast. We broadcasting live from the nation's cap. We got a dope episode for you today with a dope guest, you know what I'm saying, hailing from the Democratic Republic of Congo, from the motherland, you know what I'm saying, came to America when he was 5 years old, went back to Africa, to Zimbabwe to live out his teens, came back to America to further his education and embark on a 25 years and still going journey through the music culture, making stops at some of the biggest music platforms in the world along the way, like BET, MTV, Revolt, Spotify, you know what I'm saying, paving the way for starving rappers to one day be able to eat some rap caviar. You know, but now he's curating the culture on my tube, your tube, everybody's tube as the director of Black music and culture at YouTube. Welcome to the Black Smoke Podcast, TUMA BASA. What's up, TUMA?
What's up, Stu? How are you?
Oh,
Pinky,
man.
Grindstone.
Yes.
Thank you.
Pleasure to have you, you know what I'm saying? As you heard in the intro, you know, you are well-versed, well-traveled, cultured, you know, and very involved in what's going on in the music culture. So, you know, we had to get some of your time to talk to you.
No, thank you for having me and everything. But I have to
Correct
say
me.
one little thing.
Please correct me.
So I was born in Democratic Republic of Congo,
right.
But my family's from Rwanda.
Rwanda.
Yeah. So what happens is so, you know, a lot of times, so I was born and everything, but like my culture and you know what I mean, et cetera, is really Rwanda. That's Rwanda. Yeah.
High school.
No, I went to high school in Zimbabwe.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Rwanda and Congo is beefing, ain't they?
Right now. Yeah. Those are right now, but things will get better. Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, whoa.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a little bit more real than Georgia Avenue sounds like.
Zimbabwe and Moreto, that's a beautiful place, right?
Yeah, that's where Victoria Falls is. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's one of the 7 wonders of the world. I mean, it's beautiful. It's and also it's like there's like different climates. You know, you got the savannah here, and you know, and it's Zimbabwe is like agricultural too.
Okay.
So it was like the breadbasket for a long time, you know, I mean, of that region, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And then when you came back to America for like after Zimbabwe, you were in like Iowa and
yeah,
you moved. Yeah. So because growing up on the East Coast, Jersey, there's a lot of African culture pockets on the East Coast.
Yeah, so York, especially here in DC.
DC, you know, Philly, you know, all the way to Atlanta, Miami, but Iowa, Utah?
Well, you have to remember something. Those places, there's a lot of African students. You know what I mean? So when we came to the States, my dad was a graduate student. You know what I mean? That's how we came here.
Okay.
And then, you know what I mean? When he finished, that's when we went back. When he finished his PhD. You know what I mean? So we went back.
Called him farming?
No, not for us. My great grandfather used to.
But not in Iowa.
Yeah, not in Iowa. No.
But y'all really did stick out being black in Iowa.
Yeah, but you know, but the thing about being black in Iowa is you're a minority, but everyone says hi to each other. You know what I mean? Like, and then if somebody doesn't say hi, you think they're stuck up or they're scared or etc. So even and then when I was a kid, you get used to it. You get used to being like a super minority, and then you have a few people who came out of Iowa too.
Super minority.
Yeah.
Super minority.
No, because it's like if you're like 3% or 5%, like, you know what I mean.
So it was like a fly in the milk.
Yeah, pretty much. But the thing is this. But then you like, let's say I'll give you an example. The elementary school I went to in Iowa, because remember I lived there when we were in the States, and I came back. If Coralville Central that's where all the black kids were. You know what I mean? So none of the other schools had any black kids. You see what I'm saying? It was, and then one year they decided to split us all up. They said it was too diverse, and they put us all in like 5 or 6 different schools.
How did that work out?
That was horrible.
I can imagine.
For me, it was okay because I already lived on the side of town where I was supposed to go to school. but my dad wanted us to go to. So it was called Corville Central,
Mm-hmm.
and then it was like 19. This is like 1985, 86. This is
The
85.
school got Central in it, you know.
Yeah. It was called. Yeah, it was Corville Central.
Anything Central.
Well, the thing is this, but it wasn't just black people. It was like all the international students, the grad students,
Right.
as kids.
Right.
So you had kids from Saudi Arabia, from Laos, Sudan, from
In the middle
Panama,
of Iowa.
Yeah, because the parents were
In
students in grad school.
great.
You know what I mean? So everyone was concentrated. Then there was I'll never forget this. A superintendent called David Cronin. I remember because I used to read the newspaper. Like, are they gonna split us all up? And he was the one who said, okay, some kids have to go to Roosevelt, some kids have to go to Horn, some kids have to go to Kirkwood, some kids have to go, you know what I mean? And then that year, I was like 5th grade, I ended up going to Kirkwood, but I already knew the kids because I lived on that side of town.
Oh, okay, so you was good.
Yeah, so I already knew them. It's just that I never went to school with them.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? So, because my dad wanted me.
Changed, like we was cool when we ain't go to school with you. Now you want all turf.
But the difference was the income is at Corville Central. Most of the kids, like let's say the ones who lived in Mark IV, which is now called Pheasant Ridge, that was Section 8 housing, right? Iowa's version of Section 8 housing, right? And so the difference is the kids at Corville Central and stuff couldn't afford to wear brands. You know what I mean? And big thing. So when I got thrust to Kirkwood, all of a sudden there are these like kind of preppy kids, right? That I knew from just riding my bike, like casually. But now you had the kind of like, these are the popular ones. These are the ones that were Ocean Pacific and
Ocean Pacific.
yeah. And then the other brands at that time was like Esprit or Yes Jeans or like, you know, no, right? Is you know, those are like the hot brands and
was the one.
yeah,
the girl.
yeah, but they could afford that. They could afford that.
And all that.
Yeah, but the Corville Central, that wasn't a thing,
Right.
because nobody had any kind of.
so it wasn't.
It wasn't a thing. Yeah. So there was that shift. But when we got to junior high, that's, you know, in junior high when they have all the kids from all the school, that's when I really noticed the difference because I knew both.
Right.
And then that became like a skill later on where if you're in two worlds, you know what I mean? And you can be in between. You
Not have to choose sides.
Yeah, easy.
You know what I'm saying?
You know
So
what I mean?
at what point did TUMA B come about? Like, or before TUMA B, when did you like get introduced to hip hop?
So this is the funny thing too. And you asking me about being a black kid in Iowa.
I mean, this crust.
No, but this is the interesting thing. Is this is the 80s. The only music that happened was what was on the radio, MTV. It said this is Iowa, right? So my perspective of music was very much like what the other white kids were listening to because that's all we got, like the Bon Jovi or whatever.
Before TUMA B, when did you like get introduced to hip hop?
So this is the funny thing too. And you asking me about being a black kid in Iowa.
I mean, this crust.
No, but this is the interesting thing. Is this is the 80s. The only music that happened was what was on the radio, MTV. It said this is Iowa, right? So my perspective of music was very much like what the other white kids were listening to because that's all we got, like the Bon Jovi or whatever. And the hip hop was the ones that got to Iowa, Fat Boys,
Run
DMC. You know what I mean?
Actually,
but this is the deal. No, LL was the thing because I remember, I'll never forget this. Because there was one kid named Rico who was like, yo, you know, that's that song I'm Bad. And I'm thinking Michael Jackson, I'm Bad, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I'll never forget, and then this is the deal. And that same year, I moved to Zimbabwe, and the kids in Zimbabwe were listening to hip hop music. Their taste was more urban, right? R&B, hip hop. And I'll never forget Wild Wild West, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't know the Kumodi version. In Zimbabwe, this guy knew the Kumodi. I knew a pop version was like, she's so mean, but I don't care. I love her eyes
It
and
was-
the wild, wild hair, wild, wild west. Wild west. It was a pop song. I don't know. I don't know. In Iowa, that's what they played. So
They make
I
their
thought
own
he was talking. I don't even know who sang that song, but that's the
We
song.
gotta find that research
Yeah.
department.
Yeah,
Find
yeah,
the
yeah,
original
yeah,
Wild
because-
Wild West.
Yeah, but that was I remember
Iowa
that.
version.
It was I'm bad. What was there was another song.
Well, the Beastie Boys were out then.
Yeah, Beastie Boys were out. We Could Fight for Your Right was out. DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. Parents Just Don't Understand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Public Enemy, Night of Living Basshead.
Yeah, but that never that didn't get to us. You're talking about a 12-year-old
He wasn't trying to let the black kids Iowa get riled up.
But wait. But you
Dope Man.
no, that didn't get to us. Not to us. Like I'm gonna tell you. Wait, I'm gonna tell you what got to us. Because you have to remember, there's some nuance in here. There were some cities. Des Moines had black people, right? That's where Bangladesh is from.
Yeah.
That's where T-Boz is
That's
from.
the Iowa that we all know.
Right,
Des
so
Moines, that's the one
right?
city we
Des Moines had. Waterloo had. That's where Tracy Spencer's from, right? Because John Deere is in Waterloo. Davenport, which was on the border of.
Make it sound like Iowa.
No, wait, no. I'm just saying that.
I was over at Des Moines. I heard of Des
Iowa
Moines.
City. Iowa City is the college town.
Uh,
Yeah, Iowa City is the college town, right? So, but the thing is this. So Davenport's on the border of Illinois, right? So Rock Island, Moline, all that. So you know what I mean? And so what happens is so if you go to Des Moines, where we lived for 1 year, 12 miles from Des Moines, and there was a black radio station, and there was a DJ named Kalonji, and that's what we used to hear. I used to hear, like, you know what I mean? Like, that was the breakdancing time. That was 83 or so. That was like when Beat Street and Breaking and all that stuff came out. So you used to hear, that was the year. So we knew, yeah. And when you went to church, it was a black church. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like Des Moines had a black church. Cedar Rapids had a black church. Iowa City didn't. So what happens is, when I get to Zimbabwe, that's when I really realized it, because they think that I'm into everything. Yeah, because I was in America.
But you was in Iowa.
I was in Iowa.
I was there when they was saying come to Iowa. I wasn't there.
Yeah.
New York.
And
New York.
even in Zimbabwe, the language, it's called Shona. To say no is Iowa, right? So when I first got there, I remember being introduced, and this is a boarding school now, right? Because Zimbabwe was had boarding schools. And the woman is like, yes, TUMA comes to us from Michigan. I said, no, Iowa. And she's thinking I'm saying no. Like I'm saying Iowa. And she's thinking I'm saying no. And she's like, huh? Like, she doesn't know it's a place.
That's crazy.
Because Iowa means no, and Iowa is the name. So she didn't even know where I was coming from. Like, you know what I mean?
So now B TUMA B. That's your
So-
that you decided you want to drop some bars. You get into the But hip hop scene, like
but that was in Zimbabwe, and that was a mistake.
oh,
It was a
that
mistake.
Rapping. So you picked up. So out of all the B-boy stuff, rapping was first for you.
No, 100%, because of the where you can't do graffiti for what? With what spray paint or whatever?
Yeah.
You can't do DJ with what equipment? You know what I mean? The breakdancing stuff.
Breaking and popping. Like
Well,
a rapper first was rare.
yeah, but okay, now fast forwarding 88, 89, 90, 91, you know what I mean? Is for me, who thought I could write, you know what I mean? Well, I can write, actually.
Right.
Yeah, I can write, but it's just like, that was the one that was more gravitational. Also, because I couldn't sing.
Okay.
You know what I mean? so what happens is, so that was the mistake, and I say is I used to do a journal every day. I still do a journal, right?
That's me too. That's
You too, yeah, because you get out of your
That's the
system.
way.
You go.
Yeah.
That's
how you
stream
do
of
it.
consciousness. You know what I mean? Like, you don't care if you're making a mistake. It's you too, yeah, because you get out of your
That's the way.
system. You go.
Yeah.
That's
how you
stream
do
of
it.
consciousness. You know what I mean? Like, you don't care if you're making a mistake, etc. And you're documenting a lot of stuff. And by the way, I still have my journals like in my basement.
To get rid of journals.
Yeah, but the problem is, but when you go look at an old journal, I'm like, damn, that was corny. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh man, like.
But the corny is what makes it cool when you're not in the moment.
No, in 10 years when I don't care about corny. Yeah. Right now, I'm like, oh man.
You still got your you still got your pads.
Man, no.
I got stuff, but my mother threw away.
I'm
stuff
so
because
I'm-
I talked about.
my whole
So see, I don't
my
talk
whole
about it.
past is gone. Like, it's all a blur. I don't have pick. It's just gone. It's moving, transferring. Hopefully they turn up one day. You know what I'm
I
saying?
got some.
I got every one of them.
That's crazy.
See, I think you writing private stuff, nah. Like,
Yeah, my mother took my journal. It was a goosebump journal.
Goosebumps. What's that?
Yeah, I'm younger than y'all.
Oh, okay.
So
Goosebumps was like
Goosebumps
the
was
culture
the shit.
of.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I've never heard of Goosebumps.
On November 4th, 2014, Washington, D.C. voters took to the polls and voted in favor of Initiative 71. To support this movement, we have created the I-71 Committee. The I-71 Committee is a nonprofit that advocates for equitable, fair, and socially conscious cannabis legislation in D.C. Placing social equity at the center of this legislation is the main thing that will have D.C. be a beacon of hope, prioritize the needs of D.C. residents.
So now you say it was a mistake, TUMA B, right?
Yeah.
But now I've our research department, we went back, looked at some old interviews, read some old interviews on you, and when I looked at it, from my perspective of just reading it on you, it seemed like the obstacles you faced in doing TUMA B and trying to be a rapper is what has driven you.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And also, it's
So
maybe,
to us,
it makes me
it
root for the
wasn't-
continent so hard.
Right.
Makes me root for the continent so hard because I know that it's that physical displacement or that disconnection, the geographical disconnection is what keeps some of the best music, some of the best artists from having the incentive to develop.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the times is if you're an artist, you need incentive to continue to grow.
Right.
And if you don't have that and you have to find a way to make money that use up all your time or the inspiration, you don't have that ability to continue to grow because the incentive is not there.
Well, that's how California was in the 80s too.
Yeah.
With rap. So like, you had Too Short and you had NWA. But that was so far away from New York, which was like the only
Mecca.
place that like they're the ones who really made it seem like, okay, we could do this out here too. But it was like hip hop was a New York thing. You know what I'm
Even
saying?
in DC, it was like
Right,
that.
yeah.
But look what California did for the rest of the world.
I know.
That out the trunk model,
Yeah.
where okay, I'm going to sell this out my trunk, right?
Yeah.
Et cetera, ended up getting adapted down south.
Yeah.
That had the same chip on its shoulder.
I mean,
You know?
Master P started in Richmond, California,
Yeah.
with some
That was the way.
had a record store or something when SoundScan was still popping.
And we see that same spirit on the internet right now.
Yeah.
When somebody's building their audience, they're grinding, and they're discovering platforms like a YouTube
Yeah.
or a SoundCloud
Yeah.
or you know.
So my first mixtape, Turn the Hand,
Uh-huh.
out my book bag, I ain't have a car.
Yeah.
Right.
It's okay.
Yeah.
If there was a way to distribute physicals in that way, like if there was a common play model, then hand-to-hand would still work. We don't have a hand-to-hand replacement right now, right?
We do. The internet. And well,
It's not tangible.
no, hand
not
to
like
hand doesn't have to be
Hand
literal.
But I'm
physically,
saying, how do you
but it's still one-on-one person.
Yeah, the bespoke. You're talking about like a bespoke model where you have that intimate, not the internet.
where the
is
revenue can happen like that, and I could sell 1,000 of them. I could put a weekend.
Yeah, I think we're past that. Yeah. Well, no, Nipsey did it. Nipsey did it with the mixtape.
Yeah, but that was still
Yeah, but
still like mid-Obama.
yeah, maybe that's something an entrepreneur can tackle. You know, is some kind of maybe some kind of marketplace or auction style or you know what I mean? Yeah.
Person will be able to consume. I can sell to you in person.
Oh no, NFTs.
No,
NFTs. No, NFTs because the NFTs is that because you're the only one who has the that intellectual property,
Yeah.
like right? Well,
I don't see the connection how if I saw Pinky and she ran down and we connected and I grabbed that mixtape and then I popped it in and I liked the music, now I'm a fan forever.
Because
I don't see that connection unless the connection is already there. I don't see that happening through an NFT.
But did you find joy in the physical part of grabbing the CD and going to put you enjoy that process?
Opening the plastic was
Let me
made.
say this.
So did you see the clip of DJ Quick talking about the difference of recording on analog tape?
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that on
digital.
yeah.
How
The texture, yeah, exactly. The
of
energy.
the tape, it really captures the energy in the room.
I saw
the
that.
connectivity in music is what's not there for me anymore like it was prior to the internet.
Some people used to be like, this is cool. A lot of old heads would be like, this shit better be good. And because they bought it, and it's like crazy because there's anything else for $20, $30. My $10 mixtape, I'm from around your way. They definitely gonna listen to it because they paid their $10 for it. It's different, you know what I'm saying? So it's like I listened to your mixtape, that shit was good. You know, it's like why it cost $10? Like,
and then the way you would play music, like I would put a tape in, and I would listen to both sides of the tape. It wasn't like I'm putting a tape in and switching the tape out.
Is it because you paid for it?
No, it was just because it was too inconvenient to be switching. And then like even with CDs, when I'll put a CD in, depending on how far I had to drive, I would listen to the whole CD. Or I might skip through the CD, but I would put my ear on it because I didn't have like multiple CDs to pick from at once. Like streaming, you're like, I'm gonna listen to that now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you would experience somebody's beginning, middle, end.
Was it the risk of it not being good, and you putting your money on?
I think that is what fueled where we're at currently.
Yeah.
Music got to a place where, like, we know we could dupe you. We know you only gonna hear this single before you buy this album. So the album might be trash when you get it, and the consumer started because that's when the disconnection
stuff happened.
Yeah, they started being like, I don't want the whole album.
Yeah.
I just want to pick what I like off the album and get that. And then boom.
Well, but that's how the leaks and all those in Napster happened and downloading because of that exact reason. Is people felt duped.
Yep.
They felt like, oh, I spent money on this album and there was only 1 or 2 good songs on the album, right? And you stop putting out singles or selling singles, right? And then that bundle is like what the people were busting. They weren't busting the concept of the album.
I had to get in my car, go drive to the store to get it. You know what I'm saying? I had to take time out of my day, maybe stand in line if it was one of those type releases, and shit, maybe it might be sold out. I had to go to 2, 3 stores to get it, and it's still trash. Oh, I'm not buying your shit. So it's like I think that all of that fueled where we're at right now.
I think it's gonna come back, but it's gonna come back at a premium. Where that's gonna be luxury, right? Is that the keepsake, hand to hand? That's gonna be the luxury version. That's gonna be the people who are willing to pay.
Like Russell,
that's gonna be, you know what I mean? That's gonna be that next level. Is that's gonna be furniture? You know what I mean? That's only for those.
But now it's like a reverse model because before that would be the connection, me going to get that physical. Now I'm already connected to the artist, and that's why I want the physical.
Yeah,
people are buying vinyls now too. Like
I was about to say like vinyls. Like
and I don't have a record player, but I got a couple of vinyls.
And I even use. I rotate the vinyls that have in decoration, like my home office.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, you know, it depends on who's coming over, et cetera, et cetera. Like, oh, I'm gonna put, you know what I mean?
And that's why album cover art is important.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, it definitely used to be. Like now,
still is.
you know,
I mean, it is. Because it's a post on the social media.
Yeah,
but I think some people shit is total trash and they spend no time on that shit and they think it's cute because it just be trash. And that could be subjective, but it's a measure of their effort and thought. You don't feel that way?
No, I mean,
think about like an 80s joint, joint when people really had to be like, man, I got to convince the person who walks in who hadn't heard none of it that this is the shit. Like them joints was slick. So like with Pan-Africanism, you have Burna Boy right now who's very popular in America.
Yeah,
right.
Also over there worldwide.
Yeah, so I mean like
Jamaica.
So before, you know, you had Fela in the 70s, but it wasn't really an African artist doing African music that we took up. Yeah, so like
Burna's the first to sell Madison Square Garden.
Crazy.
Yeah, unless you count Sade, but her sound wasn't. Her sound was it was like British soul.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you know what I mean?
So now Utah is in the mix for you.
But that was a mistake too.
So how did you get there? You did some time in Utah, not prison.
But... No. But actually, you know what? The thing about Utah was I got a good deal.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's the school I went to. It was a good deal.
It was college?
It was college.
Okay.
Yeah, it was college. BYU.
Big love you. Big love you.
BYU.
Big love out there.
I had a good deal. I was coming from Zimbabwe. The internet didn't exist. I actually saw the internet for the first time when I was vacuuming the computer lab at BYU. And I asked the guy, I was like, yo, what's that? And he was like, it's the super information highway. The head of information super highway. That's what I said, that's the information super. I didn't know it was the same thing as the internet. Like
super
yeah,
highway.
and I literally
You should have stuck with that.
yeah. So literally, I was the custodian guy. Like I was vacuuming the computer lab, and I was like, yo, what is that? I never even heard of it. And I didn't know that the internet was the same thing as the super. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then he's like, try it. And I went, it was Yahoo. That's my first website I ever went on. Yahoo. And then I went in there and then I typed in Rwanda, right? And I remember my
So it was a search engine, basically?
Yeah, because he had it open to Yahoo, but I thought I was on Yahoo. I didn't know I was on the internet.
What year was that?
This is December 94, December, yeah. That was maybe January 95? Yeah, because it was during the break and everything, because it was freezing. Yeah, no.
It wasn't too far after that for me, because I had came down here to Washington, D.C. in 95, and it wasn't too far long after that we got on the radio, and then I remember my first recollection is AOL.
AOL, yeah.
Dial-ups, and then going in the chat
What was the first thing you
rooms.
looked up on the internet?
Forever.
That's a good question. I don't even know remember what the first thing is that I looked up.
You're not allowed to say it on camera.
The first thing I looked up was Illuminati.
Oh, really?
There you see, that makes sense.
Because that summer I was reading, I was like really reading, and I was like,
Now you are
I can find
Illuminati.
out anything in there?
Do you believe Illuminati is real?
Hell yeah,
I don't believe it.
I definitely do.
I don't believe it's real.
I believe in the society. I just don't believe.
Okay, yeah, let's not call it Illuminati, but I know it's a society that you gotta. You push the wall, the door turns, and you're in this whole other world. And they make.
I know at the top of the food chain up there.
I don't think anybody nowadays has that much power.
Shit.
Maybe not one person,
Hey,
but
Maybe back in the day when there was like industrialists and there was like 10 industrialists
I can see
and they
how it'd be
had
easier back in the
95%.
day.
Yeah.
And I think there's more than one society.
Yeah, but
Like I think there's groups at the top of the food chain. Is world's 1%. They're literally playing war games with us.
No. I think. Well, this is DC, and DC is a political town.
Right.
And the one understanding a lot of political people is that politics is like sports. It's very local. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? So what happens is, I don't, especially nowadays with the internet and people have access to so much information. And exactly. And then also it can be, something's exposed. It can be really bad.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
I hide it right quick.
I mean,
Like
they still got people that can cover that shit.
DeMar Hamlin.
I don't think too deep into.
Oh, okay. That's a perfect time to take a break.
Oh.
Right here on the Black Smoke Podcast. We'll be back with more TUMA BASA 1 second. We back at it with our special guest, TUMA BASA, Director of Black Music and Culture at YouTube. And when we left off, we were talking conspiracy theories. I think somehow we done got the talking about DeMar Hamlin. DeMar Hamlin's name came up.
And this just loops back to the Illuminati.
I think it's
and a few people being in control of something.
No, but you did school. You're back in America. School. You're still connected to music. You did the TUMA B. So what is driving you now, and what is the direction for TUMA moving forward? Like, what do you want to do in life from this point in Utah and Iowa and going to BYU and stuff?
Well, something that happened at Utah was there weren't a lot of black people in Utah, right? So
Really?
so what happens is
What city in Utah? Where you in?
Provo.
Never heard of it.
You don't want to trust me. Like, yeah. So what happens is they used to shoot a lot of movies and TV shows there, right? In the 90s at least, like all those Independence Days and all those movies used to get shot like there. And my roommates used to be extras because there weren't many black people, but they wanted to make it look like it was in Utah, right? So I got the call one day. He wanted my roommate Carlos, and he wasn't home, and they were like, to be a stand-in, and then he was like out of town or something. I said, and they were like, how do you look like? They were trying to ask me if I was black, right? And then I was like, I'm about the same height as Carlos, I'm about the same complexion, and they're like, would you be interested in being a stand-in? So I was Ozzie Davis' stand-in. You know Ozzie Davis? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I was
Hello.
White and don't know and think we all look alike.
yeah. So I was Ozzie Davis standing for this pilot. I don't even know if it aired. It was called Promised Land.
Okay.
Touched by an Angel was the TV show that we used to shoot in Utah
Yeah.
with Del Reese. Yeah. Because I remember when she came on the set, she was like, "The stuff is here." And she was like, you know what I mean? So what happens is during lunch, during lunch, Ozzie Davis.
That was using it supremely legendary
Yeah.
set.
Well, the thing is, I knew Ozzie Davis because of Malcolm X, the autobiography of Malcolm X.
Yeah.
He did the eulogy. Yeah.
Right.
So that's the context I knew
That's
Ozzie
big.
Davis.
That's
So
big.
so what happened was during lunch, he invited me and there was another young lady. She was do you remember Suzette Harris and Suzette Douglas? She was the mom in Jason's Lyric. She was
yeah, I do.
Parenthood.
Yeah.
She was like Robert Thomas's wife in Parenthood.
Yeah,
She
yeah,
passed
yeah.
away.
Oh,
So she was the girl who's her standing. They went and sat down like during lunch, and they were like, "Oh, come sit with us." So I started talking to him, and he gave me the idea of working behind the scenes. You know what I mean? In that moment, because I was starstruck. I never seen any.
Let's start.
You know what I mean? The only celebrity I'd ever seen was B.J. Armstrong. Like, you know what I mean?
Wow.
You know what I mean? That's how the Target was.
Not BJ the Chicago Kid.
Yeah.
B.J. Armstrong.
B.J. Armstrong. That's the only.
Wow.
So I was starstruck, and he's telling me about all the behind the scenes stuff, like being an accountant in the entertainment industry, et cetera, et cetera. So that moment was really where I said, "Oh, I'm gonna really explore all the behind the scenes," because he was telling me about the longevity, career. He was telling me a lot of stuff. I used to write letters to him. He gave me his address in New Rochelle, New York, and I used to like write letters
So he
to him.
basically was like, "Look, Tuma,
yeah.
the acting thing might not be for you, but look."
But he's the one. He's the one.
Like gave you like a
Lifeline.
He gave you the vibe.
Yeah. No. Literally, that moment, because something had happened the night before on Larry King Live. So I just asked him a question about, and then he gave me this big explanation. So in a way, that kind of maybe subconsciously inspires when I talk to young people. I'm always trying to transfer information. I'm big. I'm big a generational transfer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is that you don't know?
Yeah.
You don't know because they might be looking up to you and they think, oh, like, wow, I might say the exact same thing their older brother or someone else says, but if there's some kind of like attachment, like I associated Ozzie Davis with the autobiography of Malcolm X, like, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So
That made it credible. That made.
Like, did he ever see you?
no, he never wrote back. It's right.
I told you, he was like, "Look, man, I did not for you, but you might."
Yeah. Those
like-
days where you would like go check the mail and see if you got he never wrote back.
So then, where did you go from there when you started looking in behind it? What was the first thing
So I
that?
transferred to University of Iowa because I hated Utah, and then transferred to University of Iowa, and then I told my parents I was going to be an entertainment lawyer, and then when there was what was her name, Camille DeJorna? I'm trying to remember her name, but she was admissions at University of Iowa Law School, and I told her like, hey, I want to do law school in entertainment law. And she said, well, you have to go to New York or LA. You can't do it from here.
Wow.
You go do an internship.
Yeah.
So she had gone.
Being entertainment.
Yeah, so she had gone to law school.
Baby.
Yeah.
You want to go to New York?
Yeah.
for that.
No. So she had gone to law school with LL Cool J's lawyer at the time, and then she gave me her address. So I wrote to her, sent her my resume, my cover letter. I even have the letter. We don't have any internships. And then even recommended me like Sony, all these other places. So what I did was we used to deliver barbecue, and the barbecue place went out of business.
Door dashing.
No,
DoorDash.
but yeah, before DoorDash. Yeah, well, it was one place. It was Fry's Barbecue and Grill, and they went out of business. So I was about to qualify for 13 weeks of unemployment. So I was like, man, that means I can afford to do a free internship in New York, because the issue before was I couldn't afford it. I had a cousin in New York, and I had a cousin in Cali. So I called my cousin, Mukesha. I said, and I knew she had an extra bedroom. I said, hey, can I stay the summer at your place? And then I bought, Greyhound had a special for like $69. anywhere in the country.
Wow.
So I took a Greyhound from Iowa City to New York City.
Wow.
I was sick too.
And how old were you?
This is 1997, so I was 21. I was 21, turning 22. Yeah, I was 21. But for me, I took the Greyhound bus, right? I remember we stopped in Cleveland, and I was listening to Maxwell Urban Hang Suite the whole time, like because the guy at the bus station, his girl had just kicked him out of the house, so he was selling his CD player, and so the Discman. Remember the Discman? Yeah. So he was like, yo, I'll sell you this Discman and the CD inside. And the CD inside was Maxwell Urban Hang Suite. So I bought it off and I listened the whole way. Literally. Yeah, and that was a great album. So so you could listen the whole way. Yeah.
We even changed the sound of music.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Because it had that kind of airy whisper, like, you know what I mean? Yeah, 100%. And then so what happened was, I go to New York City, and then I stayed with my cousin. I made 800 cold calls, and the reason I know I made 800 cold calls because their local phone was called 9X at the time, right? And then Iowa was Northwestern Bell, and Iowa
that was long distance.
local calls were free.
Oh, okay.
There was like 10 cents a call.
Oh,
so
you got that
yeah. So she was like, whoa, whoa. So I made 800 cold calls. One of my fraternity brothers worked at Polygram. He connected me with a few things. I got an internship at EMI Records. I would literally show up. It didn't work. When you show up to the record label and you give them the resume, I showed up to Sony. I even showed up to MTV, by the way, which years later I was like, wow, I made it. Yeah. So I even showed up because at MTV they even gave me, it was a woman named Jennifer Vasquez. I'll never forget. I've never seen her ever since then. But she got me in to do like this typing test to be a temp, like see if you could type. You know, those days it was
40 words per minute.
Yeah, so she was like, yo, like the internship deadline is up, but maybe you could be a temp and go, do you know how to type? I said, yeah, I know how to type. I didn't know how to type. And I didn't know, not like now we're just like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. But what happens is, Jennifer Vasquez, so she got, then I get something in my records, they go out of business while I'm there. Like after like a week. Virgin Records, well, Virgin Records takes, EMI, the parent company, buys Virgin Records that year. And then they made Virgin the North American presence. And then EMI Records was folded. EMI North America was folded, because right? So I go, it was in the New York Post first. And then I was like, what? EMI is folded. Then I go to help my supervisor. My supervisor can help me pack. Now I have to find another internship. So I interned with this guy, Charlie Austin, connected me with, who's my frat brother. He connected me, I'm a Sigma and everything. So he connected me with Theo Settlemeyer. So Theo is the one who really gave me my first real internship. It was he had just started, him and Theo Settlemeyer is a lawyer. He's like everybody's lawyer. Like
sounds like it. Sounds like a
no. Theo's everybody. He's like Drake's lawyer. He's Kodak Black's lawyer. He's like Post Malone's lawyer. DJ Khaled's lawyer. I don't know, like if they still all these.
Kodak Black and the whole
Yo Gotti's lawyer. He's Yo Gotti's lawyer. Like you know what I mean? Like Theo is like the man. I don't even know if he wants me saying all that, like, but he is. Yeah. So what happens is he's all these people, but this is 1997.
Right.
So he had his startup law firm, Cutler and Settlemeyer, with Randy Cutler, who he passed away. But so I interned for them for the summer, and you know what I mean. Whatever needed to be done, he used to give me books. He gave me Hitman. He gave me Hitman, the book Hitman to read. He gave me Donald Passman. He would lend me these books, and I would read them. He gave me Donald Passman, Everything You Need to Know About Music Business. Yeah. So that summer, that summer, I remember he would like lend me books, and I'd read them. Like I would literally read them. And at that time, he was just starting the year. I think it was the year after. It was '98 or so. That's when Eminem blew up. Eminem was his client. It's up to today, I think, I believe, because Paul Rosenberg was a lawyer
under him.
Yeah. So I don't know their arrangement, but I know Paul Rosenberg was a part of that law from somehow. I don't know the exact, But so this is the year before Eminem blew up.
Right.
Because Eminem blew up like 98.
90,
This was summer of
99.
97.
I remember
Summer
Source
97.
Awards '99.
Yeah. So
In Cali at the Playboy Mansion. Was you out there?
no, I was too broke.
Eminem did something?
Huh?
Eminem did something then?
I mean, that's just when he was popping.
No.
Source Awards was in LA that year, and they did parties at the Playboy Mansion, like Interscope and Dre and M. It was just crazy, but yeah, that's when like, hi, my name is.
Yeah.
My name is. That was already.
No, but that literally, that's how. I go back because I have to go back to Iowa because you can't go to law school unless you finish. So I go back to Iowa. So I go back to finish my undergrad. And then what happened was, remember the supervisor I had at EMI? His name was Tony Ward. I used to write letters. Like I used to write, right?
Yeah,
And he said, think about Atlanta or mid-sized market because New York at the entry level is like a rat race. So he was like, go get some experience somewhere, then come back to New York. Because I was looking for a job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like looking for a job. And then he said there's a article in the New York Times about Atlanta being the new Motown. So I started applying for jobs in different markets, like Flight Time in Minneapolis, LaFace, you know what I mean? BT here in DC, you know what I mean? Like I even applied for like some BMG warehouse in South Carolina, Duncan, South Carolina. Yeah. Like I even applied. I applied wherever.
Out here, there was a BMG in Maryland, like Columbia or something.
That's. I applied. I even applied to do to be like a mascot at Disney World in Orlando. Like
which one did you?
No, well, not mascot. It was like some program, But what happened was when I interviewed with the dude, they came to Iowa to recruit, and I'm like, as long as I get my foot in the entertainment industry.
Right? They came to Iowa to recruit.
Yeah. But you know what he told me? He was like, you don't want to do this.
Wow.
Dude, because what happened was he was an alpha. He was an alpha. The guy who interviewed me was alpha. So we did the interview, and then I bumped into him. You know when you go buy food? I bumped into him, and then he was like, we were just like small talking, just being nice. He's like, Greek to Greek, you don't want to do this. He's like, he told me.
See, back then, that's when it was beneficial to be in a frat. You know what I'm saying?
He told me. He was like, you don't want to do this. He said, I was like, what? He's like, yeah, no, man, it's not. Like, we're recruiting, but it's like not that. So I didn't, so I even that was like, because he was telling me it's not going to help you in terms of, but if you're in Iowa, you don't know.
So at this point, you're 23, 24?
22, but turning 23. I graduated when I was 22, turning 23.
So was the Ozzie Davis moment the moment where you just turned on everything on go? Because that's cold going a Greyhound trip.
That sounds like go.
Like you like, man, I'm in.
Well, from a storytelling perspective, yes.
Okay.
Right? From a storytelling perspective. But if I remember correctly, the Black Enterprise with Russell Simmons on the cover, right? If I remember correctly, happened while I was still in Zimbabwe. So the seed was planted. Like, you know what I mean? If I remember correctly, because I remember that issue specifically. You remember when he's on the like in the car? He was on the cover, and so the seed was planted in terms of like opportunities, and this is a career pathway. Because I remember the library in where I was in Zimbabwe only had one book about music business stuff, and it was about publicity. So from a storytelling perspective, yeah, that's the moment thing. But I think that's more of like an igniter, like, you know what I mean? Like looking for
planet, but then
yeah,
put a little gas on.
Yeah. Put the water on there because it became real, and it was coming from his mouth. You know what I mean? It was coming from his mouth, so it was that much more credible. Yeah. You know? Yeah.
No, that's major.
Yeah.
And then,
well, I think like being involved in media, just how you were able to see Russell Simmons, which was like a version of you. Like, you know,
that's a version of all of us.
That's what I'm saying. Because like, the images control the way you see your possibilities. And so like in media, the images are very important in that way. Because like until you see it, like when I saw Master P doing what he was doing, that's what made me automatically be like, oh yeah, I'm about to go into business.
Well, because you have to remember something. Before that, all the images people had to change.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In order to make it,
Yeah.
they couldn't be their full self, right? So when we saw someone like Russell Simmons, who, you know what I mean, would dress how he wanted to, talk how he wanted to, et cetera, that was inspiring. And there were so few examples of somebody who didn't all of a sudden like become this corporate robot, et cetera, et cetera. You know what I mean? So now it's so much more common. We're seeing entrepreneurs, you know what I mean, et cetera. But at that time, we never saw, you know what I mean? We never, that visibility was very limited into someone who didn't have to abandon their culture or abandon or had to like become like some Leave It to Beaver dad. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Simmons to wear Adidas into meetings.
Yeah.
That was a talking point. Like,
yeah.
He
Unheard of.
in the meeting.
Unheard of at that time.
And that was every day.
So 2002, they started MTV Jams, and then I did that for 10 years. So the first 5 years, I did it with Butterman from Baltimore.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, I remember
Yeah. He used to be on the WERQ in Baltimore.
Rap Attack.
Yeah, exactly. Then he went to so the first 5 years, then the last 5 years, it was myself and then Sheila Gouillon, who used to work with myself and Butterman. She would also come in and, you know what I mean? Do a thing and like what. So what happens is MTV Jams, there was a lot of more space because there was no ratings on it. So it didn't have the ratings pressure of MTV2 or MTV. So you played the hits. This is the formula I used to use. I'm like, okay, these are the hits. This is where we're going to get the return on airplay. But what's the return on the culture?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this is where we're going to get the viewership. But what is going to be the investment that helps for the next round so that we keep this thing going? Yeah, 100%. 100%. So a lot of DC guys, what happened was Jams was in 20 million households. MTV2 was 90-something million. And then, like 90 million, then MTV was like 100-something million, right? Households. So the Comcast markets that we were in, we knew we knew we were in Detroit. We knew we were in DC. We knew we were in Philly. We knew exactly where we were. You know what I mean? LA, charter in LA, we knew exactly cities we're in, right? So the Bay, oh my gosh, the Bay. So the Bay was in Chicago also. So we're like, yo, that's enough. That's plenty, right? So I used to tell Sheila, like, MTV's in 100 million households, we're in 20 million households. Instead of us thinking about the 80 million we don't have, let's make them wish they were part of the 20 million that do have.
That's the way to look at all that.
That's how we're like, yo, we will super serve this 20 million so hard. So hard, like, right? Like, so hard. We will super serve them so hard that they're gonna be like, damn, I got DirecTV. Well, how you get this? Like, what is this?
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you watching music videos all day.
Right.
And they're supporting Tabby Bonet and Mumbo Sauce and, you know what I mean? And all these guys, UCB or whoever, right? You know what I mean? So what happens is this, and the same, what they would say in the Bay would be the same. You know what I mean? What they would say in Atlanta, they'll be like, wait a second. That was my partner in them. Like, how do they know about my partner in them? Like, you know what I mean? That type of feeling, right? That type of, so that's what Jams was. For us, it was a passion project. Like, it was like, if you can feel the passion in this day of music, which included old videos that were unique to MTV's music video library. You know what I mean? So we'll throw in.
Oh, you're throwing
some Poor Righteous Teacher, like in between, not too much, not like just for flavor, like you know what I mean? Yeah. I just call them relief records, like, you know what I mean, just to break the monotony of all the brand new. Just have fun and also to make every day different. So if I came home at 2 o'clock every day from school, 3 o'clock every day from school, I would see something different from what I saw yesterday. Yeah.
Now you see the same exact video at 3 o'clock and the same song on the radio at 3 o'clock that I heard yesterday.
Because they're chasing ratings, they have to in order to stay alive.
But
you know what I mean?
What you did, you did too. You didn't necessarily necessarily have, but you
No,
still
you have to.
You still needed an audience.
You
didn't
have to.
necessarily need ratings for MTV
But it's the
Jams,
proportion. But the proportion.
and then that's an example to me of somebody who could have taken that opportunity to exercise gatekeeperism.
Yeah.
Like you could have just played the hits and been good. But you asked the question that a lot of gatekeepers in our culture don't ask, which is, what is the return for our culture?
Well, but this is
Not for me.
but wait.
Right.
But see, I come from the gatekeeper era, but I did practice gatekeeping, right? But in my mind, I wanted to separate gatekeeping and hate keeping, right? You know what I'm saying?
Because everybody is supposed to get in.
Wait. I'll tell you what.
Tell us.
What happens is this. It's like, yo, look, I want as many to come in as possible, but they have to meet the criteria. There has to be a standard.
Otherwise, professional music business.
Exactly. Otherwise, it devalues the real estate that when you land on MTV Jams, there's no effect because you just let the thing.
I mean, they're not letting us play sports because we black.
Yeah, because
we good.
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So it's criteria.
Yeah. So the hate. That one is more defense. Like we don't want you here. Like that.
Just us.
Yeah, that red
people.
velvet rope vibe. Like, you know what I mean, et cetera, et cetera. And that doesn't do anything in terms of like fertilizing and nurturing, and you know what I mean. It doesn't do anything in that growth. That you know.
Is that hip hop centric, or is that in all music?
No, I think hip hop actually gatekeeping is actually over in hip hop. By the way.
What? Say that one more time.
Gatekeeping is over in hip hop.
It's now.
Keeping that.
No. Let me that. No. The reality is this: right now, the hip hop. There's so many outlets to launch from, so many ways.
And
It's the difficulty is breaking from all that noise. There's so much music, so many artists, and so the issue now is, how do you break from that? You know what I mean? The sand, like, you know what I mean? Like, how do you become like a sandcastle with all that sand? Like, you know what I mean? And that's a lot more difficult. So now it's taste making. If I'm in the gatekeeping position, I have to get it right. Before, we didn't have to get it right. We had protection of public airwaves, barriers to entry to public airwaves, or music licensing, because not everyone could get it. Yeah. So now, if you don't get it right, you're irrelevant.
Right.
Nobody checks for you anymore. You know what I mean? So now it's a different game. You know what I mean? It's a different game. And then now it's a timing game. It's like, at what point in the rise are you going to get it? You see what I'm saying? Is it when it's 0 to 20, 20 to 40, 40 to 60? So the hot ones and the smart ones, or the A&R vibe kind of one, will you know what I mean? They'll get it. You know what I mean? And they'll be comfortable with that, the scale that comes with catching a record when it's 0 to 20.
But do you think that involves like going viral and all that stuff?
But virality at this point feels more like luck almost. You know what I mean? It's like, it almost feels like
It did until TikTok released the report saying that their employees get to choose.
I can't talk about it.
I mean, that's a report. I know you don't understand.
I don't know.
The report came out.
I don't know.
But speaking of timing and A&R, this is the perfect time to take a break for our artist spotlight, the Black Smoke Podcast Artist Spotlight. And this week we get the privileges of spotlighting one of our very own. Pinky Killer Core. Tell them what you just dropped, Pinky.
So I just dropped a single called Extra, and a video for the joint. It's produced by Corbin
Butler out
Butler
of LA.
in LA. And yeah, this is my joint. So for Grindstone Music, shout out Grindstone Music, Grindstone Media Group. It's just me talking my shit. Not no whole lot to it.
Here it go right here, Pinky Killer Core Extra on the Black Smoke Podcast.
Powered by GMG.
settle for the less, the least, at least a freak, one freak. Now can you make it drip like somebody left on the sink? It leak, you geek, your brain, unique. Love the way you love to use your mouth, but you don't speak. It's spick and span, now clean it up. Ain't shit else to be saying. Ain't got time to be playing. Some sucking with left side, some loving with no land. Cause I don't trust nobody but these hundreds in my hand. And I stay on my shit in case shit ever hit the fan. Sipping on some sea moss while I'm plotting on the plan. Just saying. If you wanna see what's up, then come run up like we playing. We will rock you like the song they be saying. And why they be lying and shit? All on the talk of the tick. They getting live on they live, looking like a lit. Social media hit, social media likes, social media lies on lives. Got niggas losing their life. I'd rather do what I like. In real life we lit. Influence you when your bitch under the influence. Does it make sense? Money getting made. I'm too real to make a real about what I'm getting paid. Plus I live in the moment while they throwing shade. So my private life will never make a public page. I'ma make them shake their privates while I'm on the stage. I say hold up, they say hold up, kill a corner name.